What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream here on Sunday evening. And thank you for coming out and joining for it. Greatly do appreciate it, and I hope everyone is doing well. Again, just doing a final sound check here. I think I timed the music perfectly to cut in. We're a little bit early here. We normally start at around 9-ish. We got a couple minutes to go, but it looks like we're all good in the hood. There, Ryan, Alan, Trevor, thank you everyone for coming out. Everyone else that has joined, greatly appreciate it. As of right now, at my surprise, the futures are up again. I don't never say I predict things, but like that, this is a strange one without a doubt. We'll see on how this continues to take us, and we'll see on how the river will flow or the waves will take us, especially with some volatility that we had just on Friday due to the overall movement of President Trump having to go get tested positive and then going to Walter Reed Medical Center, and then now he's walking out and about and all this other stuff. So definitely a very crazy time to be in the market, and especially if you're newer, this is I've been doing this for a little bit. This is a very strange market. So if you're feeling confused, head scratching, doing the old like WTF is going on here, you're in the same boat. Like, this is definitely a very strange time to be in the market and trading very well. Big Boomer Ken, thank you. Ryan, Charlie, what's up? Leo. I'm looking for the bull. You want the bull, Ryan? I got the bull gif. You ready for it? I don't know if you're familiar with this this one here. This is the bull gif here, getting ready to ramp in rage. So are we gonna have the bull market, or the kind of this get out of this kangaroo market and jump back into that overall bull status, or are we gonna have the dancing bear to kind of take us lower, get below that 200 EMA, and see on how that plays out? But that being said, we'll take a looky-loo here in the markets. As of again, right now, we're up $27.50, so $27.50. That is definitely a different perspective of where people thought what we would be. That being said, this has been, again, this market makes no rhyme, sense, or reasons at times. So be very well aware of that. Yeah, Trump is definitely going to be key this week. That is definitely going to be something to look out for. Yes, I did have a good weekend there, Trevor. Thank you for asking. I did my first flight lesson, actually. That was fantastic. A lot of fun there. For that, let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and jump in. Let me just kind of sum this stuff on SPY to kind of make things a little bit more simplistic. We can kind of look here on the naked chart here. I'm kind of been doing this a little bit more. You can really just see some overhead resistance around that 340 level. And that is also aligned with that key level kind of coming across here. We can do a quick fib here to kind of show that point there. So 345 to 340. 340 is that 618, which is a key level in Fibonacci retracements. So that is definitely something we need to potentially break that at or above. Again, we had a pretty crazy bouncing around ping pong kangaroo market that we talk about. We're still not getting above that 50-day yet, so we need to break above that 50-day, which is around 335 on the SPY, and close above it. And would love to see the white and pink line that are the 5 and 8 EMAs to cross through the 21 EMA. We have already had the parabolic SAR dot switch to the downside, so this is basically giving us some upward support. So if we do want to come down, this could be potentially kind of holding off that overall potential larger downward movement. Let's see here. Fish. Yes, he was out and about a little before 6 o'clock, right before the futures market opened up here on the East Coast. Yes, since I live so close to DC, you kind of get all the press from everything. They just push it everywhere. It's just absolutely insane on how much you see about that. All right, let me just kind of get through a couple things. I think Jesse asked about workhorse. Will it rebound? Yeah, we can take a looky-loo at that one. I think it will rebound, honestly. The thing is, you're gonna have to have conviction in it. Like this, any of these SPACs and these earlier investments are really going to be bouncing around, and we're seeing that movement here. If it can stay, because it came back here previously to the 34 EMA, which is that orange line, and bounced hard. Potentially could see that tomorrow again. I don't know the fundamentals of what the news behind Workhorse is. Again, we don't know what the contract or God knows whatever. That being said, we're looking for if that can bounce off basically that 2250 level to go higher, or at least stabilize and build a base. That looks like a good move. But if we start seeing that negative movement coming in and start making its way back to $20, and we get the 5 and 8 to cross through the 21, we could potentially see that $20.86, even down to back to 1986 there. I don't have a prediction on Trump's recovery. I'm not a doctor, but what the doctors are saying is that he's recovering fairly well. And yeah, let's go here. Look, Ryan is talking about the old Amazon. Yes, Amazon working its way higher as well. We are seeing, again, Amazon Prime Days coming out on the 13th or something like that. So like 2-ish weeks away, 10 days away from that. Again, 5 and 8 moving averages, trying to break hair higher, trying to get above that 20 EMA. Again, kind of following that kangaroo bouncing around market here. Potentially downward support is going to be coming in right around that 3,000 level to the downside. But this move, if this has any merit or any kind of staying power, we can easily see come back up to that 3,400 level within the old Amazon. But that being said, if the market wants to go choppy next week, Amazon's definitely going to be kind of tethered to that. Let's see. Ryan says SPWR. Which one's that, Ryan? Is that one of those SPACs? Oh, no, it's not. Okay, SunPower. SunPower. Okay, this is a weird looking chart. Let me look here on the weekly. Yeah, it's like it hasn't done much of anything, but it's just kind of trending sideways. Seeing that kind of bounce off that 144, it's kind of been strong. If you're in it, you're doing fantastic, but your next overhead resistance is going to be coming in basically at that 1445 level, which is previous high. With that movement, again, that 1445. But if this has any merit, any more staying power, the next target after its all-time high would be around that 1577 and then 1748. Downside support on the short term is going to be coming around $12, and then longer data support is going to be coming around $10.70 there, Ryan. You have the $20 calls that are expiring 115. Interesting. Let me see. Looky-loo here. 115, $20 calls. Okay, so you got a 27% chance they're up just a little bit the other day. Not much open interest, but again, definitely a very I want to say it is pretty aggressive, but you're giving yourself a lot of time to have that play out. I've never been skydiving before. I can't do skydiving. That'd be a little bit too risque for me. I don't know. I don't know if the futures will tell if the president's recovery is well. I think that the market's taking it in stride that I think they're more taking in stride that Regeneron's remdesivir is doing fantastic, and it basically kind of cures the virus, and that's my lack of better words. I wanted to look at the old Microsoft here. Let's look at Microsoft. This one is definitely one that's on my radar. If it can stay above that 204 to 205 range, this can easily print above that 210, and really looking for around 220 to the upside there. Definitely would be a nice particular move there, but again, this thing has been beaten up, and I think this is definitely something to be getting intrigued about. S&P, apps, Tesla, Piton, those are my picks. Okay, yeah, I love, actually, Piton is definitely one that is just been on a monster tear. Ever since this bounce here off the 21 EMA, it has just been grinding up that 5 and 8 moving averages, trying to make its way past that 1272 extension and really kind of stopping at that 1618, which is around $110. We still have potentially room to run since the RSI is nowhere overbought yet. So they initially could be looking for to break above that 111 to 110 to potentially to 115 to even 120 would be a very strong push. But once we start seeing the squeeze die down, we get these bars to become more of the dark blue side, and then this RSI getting above 75 to 80 would be signaling a strong, potentially a pullback or a slowdown in that movement there. And then of course Tesla, yes, we love our Tesla as well. Is definitely one that's been in very choppy mode, but the trend is still continuing going higher with the swing high to swing low, swing high to swing low to swing high, swing. So each of these lows are higher, so that's a good sign. It's really holding that 50-day SMA here and just continue to grind higher. We are having some resistance around 465 to kind of break above that, but I think with any kind of positive news in the market and things kind of get moving with a stimulus package, this thing can easily break well above 500 within the short-term side without a doubt. And then apps is definitely one that has been performing very well as well. Like it's kind of, again, it comes back down to this 21 EMA, builds that base we talk about, and then just skyrockets higher. There is no squeeze as of right now on this stock here, but this is definitely looking like it's kind of curling up, potentially trying to get to $44 if the overall things go well. Short-term support is going to be coming around that $31 and $32, and then it's going to come back down to initially that $29 to $30 to the downside support there. Jesse, Domino's, what's the ticker for Domino's? I always forget that one. Ken loves the boomer stocks. WM. Yeah, love me some WM, Ryan. You know me well. Leo says little Nicola. Oops, NKLA. This one, I don't know even how this is still kind of has a heartbeat for what it's been through and what's the allegations are. Looking for if this can kind of break and get above 30, I think 30 could be a potential bouncing level or a fail level that we've kind of seen that kind of move up to that $30 level before and kind of fail. Since it is below the 200 EMA, it had a little bit of strength. That being said, this could kind of trade sideways here until it gets some of the issues out of the way and potentially can skyrocket higher. That being said, this thing is too much of a wild card for me to touch and honestly trade. So I'm not going to be actually really touching this with a 10-foot pole due to that fact. And of course, it just has, it honestly makes no sense on why the last couple of days has kind of been skyrocketing and potentially moving from there. Let's see here. Boomer, Domino's. Yeah, what's Domino's ticker symbol? I always forget that one. Let's see here. Kyle says srne. What's that one? It's one of the vaccines, right? Sorrento, yeah. So this is one, of course. I don't know how these, I'm not a pharmacist or a doctor or anything like that, a chemist, to understand the compounds or cocktails they give people on these medicines. Especially on this one, we saw that potential move now kind of petering out around that $10 range. This could potentially move higher, but again, I don't know who's going to win or what's going to happen here. This is definitely looking for a potential move. If it does go higher, it's going to be looking for around $13.15, but downside support is going to be coming around $8.67. Excuse me, and then more support coming, stronger support coming around the $7.11 range. Alan says MJ. Is that the ticker symbol? Or is that you're telling me to love Michael Jordan? Oh, this is the MJ. Okay, so MJ. Okay, this doesn't look too shabby in the sense of it just kind of been in a downward movement. On the weekly side, doesn't even look too well as well. It just kind of continue going down. Let's look at on a weekly side here, Alan. We're gonna do this retracement here on the weekly side. This is going to give us hopefully a pretty good picture where we could be potentially seeing some support. Yeah, that support is not going to come until 666. So that's a potentially a larger move there to the downside. We could be seeing some initial support around that 881, but this again isn't a weekly side. We can kind of zoom out of this to potentially see on the daily. So we're gonna go here. You're gonna go here. We're gonna click that, and we're gonna click that. So it looks like they could be hovering the 38.2 percentile moves around $10.50 there, Alan, for some support. If that can build a base there for a little bit, this could maybe recover. But the moving averages are still pointing downwards to the lower part of the chart. So this, again, is still somewhat trending lower because, again, we're well below all the moving averages. We're below the 5 and 8. We're below the 21, 34, 50, 55, 144, and the 200. So unless you are very long term, or you know something that other people don't know and buying into this, again, it's going to be really tied to potentially anything to do with MJ on who becomes the next president there. DPZ, okay, that's for Domino's. Thank you. And yes, it looks like they do have earnings coming out here, Jesse, on the 8th. Wow, this one's been pretty phenomenal here. That has been a heck of a move into earnings. It's like we've seen this before. It has like the last 2 earnings. It runs into earnings and then kind of gives it back, runs into earnings, gives it back. I hate to say that history might repeat itself here, but this is definitely something that needs to be very self-aware of those previous moves. Again, that doesn't mean it needs to happen, but it definitely could be something that could be likely to happen. Again, that's a pretty large move. We've been holding the 5 EMA. The 5 and 8 EMA are very highly fast moving averages on the daily side. So there's, again, very aggressive time frames as well on those moving averages. So be very mindful of that. If we get any good, but let's see what the move is for the week. They have. So they're saying $30 basically. So $30 move could put it up quite a bit here. Let me look at the fib here. Could be a move of $30 all the way up to, yeah, it's going to be well past like the 460 plus 465 to the upside. To the downside, we can be potentially looking for around that 1618, which kind of comes in here around that 34 and 21 EMA. So that potentially could be a strong pullback level if the earnings don't go to the positive side there. I like your Can you do srne and Modernum? Beyond Uber. Davis says Uber. Sorry. Let me do this one. Uber. I haven't looked at that one for a while. Okay, this is just kind of just trading in a very like tight range here. Basically, looks like a 38 all the way down to like $30, kind of in this range. Potentially looking to kind of, the moving averages are nicely stacked. There's no squeeze indicating on the chart. It is in a weekly squeeze though, so this could be interesting here. Looking here on the weekly side, if this can hold, stay above on the short-term side, above 35, that 41 target is really in sight. But if the squeeze has any kind of movement and staying power, we're really looking for potentially $50. Again, that seems pretty insane for the old Uber, but downside support is going to be coming around $33, and then again at 31.11. Leo says Beyond Meat has had they just won a couple large contracts, I believe. This one we've been trading, or actually been investing in, kind of bought here around that 125 to back down to 120 level. Bought into here, potentially took in first targets here at 166. If this has any more staying power, we're really looking for the next target to be basically around $200 for you home gamers. I don't know why I said that. It's something that Jim Cramer always says. With the 21 EMA for the short dated support around 152, and then support coming back all the way down to around 134 there. Keen says we did srne. We can look at Modernum. Oh, I just spelled that mrna. This one, again, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if you knew that. That is definitely something it's going to be very hard to potentially bet on who's going to have the winning cocktail of to help humanity basically get out of this pandemic or this crazy 20 of 2020. Looking for some initial resistance at $70 and then 74. If we can get any more positive movement, that would be up to the upside, and looking for the attraction around $80 to the downside. You're really looking for some support around $63 to $64. If that breaks, we could potentially come right back down to that 144 range, which was at around $57 to $56 there. Ryan says JKS China stock. Yeah, that is what the heck? Is Kathy Woods buying this or something? Like what happened here? Like, yeah, this kind of blew through all the targets. If this wants to continue, but this is a very aggressive movement. Again, I don't know the story behind this one, Ryan, but it's kind of getting away from itself and really just trending higher between that 5 and 8 moving averages, and not even touching the 5. And it has not touched the 5 for like a week and a half. So this is definitely a super strong move. That'd be fantastic if you're in that. That's a great local move there. But looking for some potential consolidation here. If it does come back, short-term support is going to be around 58 and then down to around 32.85. If this really wants to continue like a rocket ship, we're looking for the next target around $55 there. Datadog, DDOG, yeah, Datadog is a good-looking company, a good-looking chart. This one has already had a move, so this is one we kind of consolidated here, basically around that $84 level, potentially for a trade. Kind of broke out, kind of hit some overhead resistance at $93. Then looking for the next target around 106. It met that target. This still has some potential room to run to around 115 before this could be potentially start petering off here. But we are seeing a little bit of stoppage here at that 1272 extension, which could be a sign of people taking profits. But the RSI has not really shown overbought yet. But if we start seeing some more darker candles kind of come in here, where it could be kind of leveling off here, maybe waiting for these moving averages to kind of catch up on that side for the old Datadog. Charlie says BA. Yes, BA. Oops, BA. Oh, not BS, BA. This thing has just been in purgatory, really just trading between that 190, 188 to around basically 150-ish range for quite some time. Just building this strong base, kind of just whipsawing us all the way around and seeing that potential holding around that 162.93. Again, this kind of was oversold due to the overall market kind of coming off like that and then bouncing back and looking for that 162, 163 to potentially hold. Again, this is really just going to be news regarding about the vaccine and all that good stuff regarding anything about that, because the plane and just really need to start getting back into flying, because again, the flight that I took was he still is an active commercial airliner, but he's been furloughed for 2 months and he hasn't flown a plane, or he hasn't flown a commercial airline jet for like 2 months, and has just been doing private lessons on his private little plane here in the airstrip here in Virginia. And yeah, we had a great conversation regarding on he has no idea when he would be going back, and they're not telling him next of anything within the when they could get the green light. It's really just kind of coming down to the vaccine, really. Yeah, the Datadog is a great monster stock. Can strong resistance at 8 case level need to increase the female viewership? Right. I don't know how I could live without your wonderful comments. Oh my gosh, it just updated. Jeff says, please explain Fibonacci extensions. So Fibonacci extensions are their numeric numbers that Fibonacci, an old philosopher, figured out that these numbers would repeat in nature, and these numbers repeat on the charts. They repeat in nature. They repeat on a lot of logos and all various things and facets of life. That these numbers kind of repeat and show a very particular natural sign of progression and just resistance and progression in those levels there. Oh, it's a solar stock, Ryan says. Okay. Yeah, that thing just really took off. Kelly D says, will Workhorse get the UPS contract? I have no idea. I don't work for either of them, and if I did, I couldn't tell you, right? Short JKS. I don't normally short things. I'm not good at day trading, and I'm not really good at shorting things because it takes a really quick fingers, and the old fingers that I'm 32 years old don't work as well as they used to. Rocket, yeah, we can look at Rocket. Rocket is definitely one that I think kind of needs to potentially kind of simmer down, as they say, to kind of see this potentially kind of just trade sideways here. We are seeing large movement in this and potentially seeing it. If it breaks above 2360, it could run, but this is still a newer IPO, and it kind of got, I won't say tainted, but it kind of had that IPO run and then that kind of bust. And just kind of start trading downward. We're still kind of in the potentially turnaround phase. We haven't seen the 5 and 8 cross through the 21. We are seeing the ticks getting above the 21 EMA. So this is definitely one I would take a small size on, meaning a starter position, meaning like, so if I wanted to buy $5,000 of this, I wanted to buy $1,000 of this or whatever, I would just put in 25% initially. So the $1,000 bet, I would put in $250 initially to buy some shares this position. And if it came back down, you can always buy more, or if it breaks your level, it gets below that $20 range, you can just get straight out of it. ARKK, yeah, well, so we just did a video about the innovation fund, and this is definitely one that I own shares of. I'm actively in it, and it really just mimics a lot of the NASDAQ, to be quite honest, and looking down to potentially support around that $90 range, but really looking for that next target to really break above 95 and get to that target around 103 there. What do you think about the real estate market? I always think it's too hot. I don't own any real estate. I do love Zillow. Yep. Ryan took the words out of my mouth. I love Zillow. I love Redfin. Those stocks have been performing super well here lately. And Zillow, let's look at that chart. Like, I'm an imbecile, and I sold a little over 100 here, and it's just been continue to run. Super long strength, strong continuous growth here. That 5 and 8 moving averages is really just carrying it higher here, with showing some potential, some overhead resistance coming in with the RSI and volume zone oscillator. So we could be getting a short-term pullback potentially to a 100 or even $96 in the near term there. But again, it could run continuously, so it could run and break above 110. I forget what my price targets were. I think it was around probably 112 to 115. Could be hitting some numbers there. Handsome Dan, golden number. Yeah. I have some extra cash for Fang plus M entry. Which, please, thanks. C tab. What's the M? Is that what does the M mean? Michael says Chegg. Yes, this is one that we did love, but then we got kind of cut it a little bit. We loved it on this huge run up here, then kind of came out of nowhere, just kind of traded 20 EMA, cut the position, then came out even more, but it found some support around that $63 range and potentially trying to grind back higher here. With that being said, we can looking for that again. The moving average is starting to cross over the 21 EMA, so that's a good sign. Short dated support is going to be coming around $69. Longer dated support is going to be really kind of into that $63 level, and potentially looking for some overhead resistance at 76, and then all the way up to $80 there. Yeah, I don't day trade though. I do terrible at day trading. I was just joking, Hanson Ban. I'm not. I'm just about my old age. Ryan says PLTR. Yeah, this is one I bought. I don't know, about like $1,000 with. This is something that I'm just not gonna touch with a 10-foot pole for a while. I'm down probably $200 in this one already. It's not. I bought it like at $10 or $10.50. It's just kind of trading lower. Not really much to say. I think it can go probably. Hopefully, I would like to see it turn around. But again, this is something I'm not really going to be touching for quite some time and just seeing how it overall plays out. CDAB is 60 years old. Okay, wow. Thank you for joining, my friend. When should I buy? Says PLTR. The chart right now is not going to be difficult to buy on the Palatar there, Ryan. This is definitely going to be one that if you believe in the company, you just buy it and just hold. Thoughts on Paychex? What was that? Was that? What is it? Oh, Paychex. Okay. So this one is definitely having some issues above that 81.26 level, and it's kind of just trading between that 81-ish level to around 74. But again, it looks like it has earnings on the horizon, so you need to be very careful of that and make sure, because we know earnings is somewhat of a coin flip, so be mindful of that and be very careful in the sense of that. I wouldn't be buying straight calls and short-dated calls into earnings, because that could be kind of some ongoing issues to arrive from that. If we get a break above 81.26, that would be fantastic and potentially go to 90. What is the overall expected move? They don't have weekly options, so basically $5 for the next 2 weeks. That is above that 85, 86 range. To the downside, that kind of transpires to around where that $74 level is. That's definitely something that could be coming back. If it does have strong support at that $74 range, would be a nice little entry point there from my perspective. Yeah, Microsoft. So I love Microsoft, actually. People can make fun of me about that. Anywho, so swing high to swing low. This one is definitely kind of just was trending water here and still kind of that kangaroo mode. If it stays above that 204 or 205 range, this can easily get back above that 215 to 220. But if we would break below that 204, 205, we're really looking for some more support, potentially coming in around $200 there to the upside, to the downside. But if the NASDAQ and the overall tech stocks move, of course, it's going to push Microsoft higher as well. I bought some XOM puts last week. Is that Exxon? Well, depending on when you bought them, you did very well, because this is, I think oil and gas is just going to continue to downtrend here and potentially get some lower lows. We're looking for some potential support, potentially coming around $30 to the downside there, which I'm probably thinking that's what you're going to kind of shoot for, I'm guessing. Alan says Apple. Yes. So with Apple, this is definitely one that's kind of just been in purgatory. even with their new event, the new iWatch, and postponing the phone, people were predicting. Drink some water. This is one that's kind of been taking on a little bit of I don't say damage, but it's kind of in that chop market, potentially kind of rebalancing here, looking to kind of still stay above that 108 to 110 range. If it can stay above that, this looks fantastic. With this one on the short dated side for some trades, could be potentially coming back to 120 to 124 if the overall market continues going higher. Kev T says now in Chipotle. So now as service now, this thing has just been absolutely insane. I wish I stayed in with this one, and my shares around 300. Again, you win some, you lose some. This one has just been continuing higher, still holding that 34 and 21 for EMA. Downside support is really going to be coming around 465. For some price targets going out, I can help you with that. Oh, there we go. Would be potentially, like I said, its previous high, looking around 519, 518 to around 541 if that trend wants to continue to grind higher there. And then you said CMG, Chipotle. This looks actually, I like this one. I like this is a good looking play here, my friend. Definitely, that's a good looking play. It's holding this really tight pattern here. It's kind of staying above that 55, the parabolic SAR dots for some support around basically 1195-ish level. If that can continue and we see some upward projections and some movement in volume, we could easily see potential first price targets to break above 1282, even looking for around that $1,300 price target within the CMG. What trade do you do? I do a lot of trades, mostly my trading side. I do a lot of options trading. LEVI. Nope. I forgot. LE. Is this the jeans? They sell jeans? So this one has definitely had some kind of bouncing around, being in the retail section, looking for some potential overhead resistance around 1485, with a lot of resistance potentially at 1623. But with earnings on the horizon, this is definitely going to be a coin flip as well. So be mindful of that. I wouldn't be going YOLO options. Some people do. That's not my cup of tea. But this one looks like it could be potentially trying to look for a potential breakout and really try to test that previous high at 16, because we're seeing some support around $12, even down to 1175 there. Oliver, we did Palatar, NN. Where's everyone getting this NNDM? Is that something that Kathy Woods? I think is this the one that Kathy Woods is buying? A couple of people have already hit me up about this one. Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one to look at because this is, again, very much downtrending here, and has not been performing very well. But if people are buying it, we could look at some shorter dated stuff, but this is definitely going to be one. I don't know the technology or what the company does, but this is definitely looking for one to kind of, if it wants to continue going higher, looking for around $3.34 there. Andrew SCHH, is that a SPAC? No, Schwab. Oh. Wow. Yeah, this one's been a very tight consolidation as well. Since we're below the 200 and the 144, really looking for to kind of try to break above 37, even to above 38. But we've seen we've kind of failed here at the 144 a numerous amount of times here. to kind of see how that plays out. So just be very careful of that. But we're seeing some support coming around $35 there. Ken, what's your portfolio? So my trading account is going to be, I'll trade anything that has a setup, honestly. If it's anything, mostly I am tended towards more like higher growth stocks, especially within the technology realm. So that would be something I would be looking at. Bear Class, thoughts on Six Flags? It ran on Friday, but not sure to keep going. Yes, so this is one that I bought the dip on way back when everything was going to the poops, and just going lower. Bought some longer dated calls around that 8 to 75 range, and it hasn't really recovered. It's just kind of been trading sideways here. Same as a lot of these other companies, it's still below 200 EMA and hasn't really been able to focus and get higher, because again, it's strictly being injured, just like Disneyland is not able to open in California, and all the other various amusement parks, due to the fact of the closure, the virus, and just the particular what rules they operate in. They are at certain capacity. This one's definitely could be potentially being beaten up here. Has been beaten up, potentially showing some support here around $18.75. Potentially this could run up to around that $22 to $24 for some of the next overhead going there. What stocks are you looking at? I'm looking at basically just whatever is kind of moving forth. I'm kind of looking at a lot of different things. I still love a lot of the home building stuff. I like a lot of other integrative stuff that could be breaking out to the upside. Again, since I strictly kind of changed the trade to the charts, like I still love NVIDIA. I love my Microsoft, and of course I love my AMD. Love my AMD. So potentially, as long as they hold that 21 EMA, I love it. Handsome Dan, how are you feeling, man? I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you for those kind words. You going long C tab. Oh, you're talking to the other guy. Okay. Which Fang is the best buy tomorrow, or does it really matter? I may enter an Amazon or maybe Microsoft, have some extra cash. So again, the way I buy and purchase things, I kind of want to buy when everyone's selling. If I want to basically sell when everyone's buying, and that sense of that playing out. Amazon has been beaten up. That 3,000 range is something that I would like to keep an eye on within Amazon. Potentially could continue to run with Amazon Prime Day on the horizon. This is definitely something that could really create a larger movement within the stock. Sorry, the chat's really picking up here, guys. Thanks for everyone for coming out. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And we do have ways to support the channel if you would like. We have a Patreon page, and as well as the YouTube membership tab. We'll get you some fun stuff within the Discord as well. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry. Kev, thanks for the lovely analysis. You're welcome, my friend. Does President's health have an impact on the stock market going forward? Yes, I think so. We saw that really come out on when he tested positive for the virus. The stock market dropped quite substantially at 1 in the morning. Ryan says KSS. Really? That you're kind of you're a Kohl's kind of guy, Ryan? Didn't see that. Looking for some support here around $17, $18 to the downside. Again, being in the retail sector, this is going to be definitely really needs to be a fairly strong turnaround play. With that being said, that overhaul resistance at $23 to $24 to the upside, potentially looking to kind of see that again in that very tight ping pong kind of range. Boris says DocU, please. Yeah, so DocU is definitely one that is had a huge run. Of course, had that run from basically, don't get me started, I actually own this stock way back here at like 60, 65. Yeah. Anywho, that being said, had a huge run, kind of had this huge run even before earnings, then gave it all back, and now it's kind of just in hibernation mode, potentially looking for this to continue going higher, because I think this is just still a fantastic play. If it can get above, if it starts breaking out here to above 227, we are seeing that first day of squeeze. RSI and volumes on oscillator are trying to go higher here. If that can get any kind of movement and some volume coming into the stock, could potentially looking for that magnet around a 251 there. Offers 3D printing circuit boards. Oh, okay. Ken, what type of guy to call his broker and talked about a trade? That's Oliver says, what about WRTC? Yeah, this one's kind of just trading low for me as well, because you're seeing that 5 and 8 kind of fail here, and all the moving averages kind of pointing to the downside. This is definitely one that's kind of been beaten up. If this can really build a strong base here, kind of get back above that $7.36 range, that could be potentially building some support and building that base that we talk about here. Roll one says, what about a TLT? So TLT, I am actually selling calls in basically around that 166 to 171 range. This has definitely been building up here. If the market really just takes off, this is going to go in the opposite direction. This could be potentially going to 160. If the market sells off again, we could potentially see this go higher up to around 170 to 171. But that has to have a lot of things kind of come into play. And as you see right now, the market is still up, 23 points as of right now. Alan says oh my God, what just happened? UVXY. Yeah, it's a VIX trade. Definitely going to be a very difficult one to trade. This is definitely, it was spooling up due to that news about President Trump having the virus. That being said, that doesn't mean that this is going to fire higher. Excuse me, I need some more water in my throat. To fire higher here, to potentially see that movement to kind of break out and above to get above 23. Again, the VIX plays are so difficult to tell because it's really just going to be what happens with the news related stuff. Okay, the chat just updated here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, KSS is taking Amazon returns. I've seen that before. Ryan says puts on purple. That's what has that been doing? Oops. Yeah, this is definitely one. I don't know about puts. If it fails here at 25.45, it has been a little bit aggressive here. If it comes back down to short dated support around 23.65, and then all the way down to potentially that $22 to $21 level there. Also says IIPR. Is this the company that's doing the rental space for the pot companies? Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one to play. I actually like this play due to the fact that I can't trade it though. Looking for some potential support here around that 118. If this squeeze can fire down here to the long side, we can easily potentially see that all-time high around 140 with the longer term trend looking for around 166. So I'm looking at this as basically on a weekly side. So this can kind of hold above that, again, $118, $117. This is really looking to try to spool up to around 140 there. Domino's is overrated. It's a Square's up 180%. Really? That much over the yearly? Yeah, it's definitely a very strong stock. This has been performing a lot better than a lot of the other tech-heavy stocks, and especially the fintech stuff. This is just looking if they can break above that 170 range, looking for 180, and then of course looking for around 193, and then really looking for 200 for the old Square there. Ken, what is a good business to get into? A good business to get into is to invest in yourself. I don't know. um, I think learning to code is very helpful, without a doubt. Ryan says Google is looking like a good time to enter. Yeah, that's definitely one that I ran a couple scans on, and I saw Google kind of come up quite a few times. Really looking for that potentially to hold around that 14.9 for basically $1,500 range. If we can stay sorry, we can stay within that 1450 range here, where we're looking at that 144 range. We could be potentially looking for that 1530 or even higher to around those previous moves. So we're looking here on a longer term time frame here, but it's right around that 21 and 34 EMA. This could be a nice little print higher here, without a doubt. Google does look good, doesn't it? Michael says D King. Yeah, D King is just has been doing super well here. This one has kind of really gotten away from me. I'm really looking for those targets to potentially hit $72. This thing has just been trading between the 5 and 8 moving averages aggressively for the past couple weeks. Short-term support is going to be coming around 55, and then from that it's going to be around $49 to the downside there. AJ says Tesla, please. Yeah, we did Tesla earlier, but we can cover it again. So Tesla had been bouncing around Kangaroo Market here, really looking for some potential again to kind of get out of this Kangaroo Market. I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but this is definitely something to be ready for. If this does move, that overhaul resistance is around 465 to the upside. Downside support's really kind of initially going to be coming around 400, and then all the way down to around 370 there. Ryan says Google 2000 by end of year. I think Domino's, I agree, Domino's is a tech stock. So Goog, what did I have on this? Yeah, maybe 1800 for Google if the overall market can continue higher with tech. Army of Goose is Tesla 302. Yeah, buy some puts for it then. Ryan, I have to agree with you. So your boy here bought the mattress in 2014 and it was terrible. We did the old complaining. Wife wrote a very well descriptive email. They got back to us. They sent us a brand newer one, no charge, and it was a lot better. I don't know any good coding programs to recommend. I think I always learn things on my own. Ken, what's your thoughts on GLW? That is from Mr. Kelly D. Corning. Yeah, this is interesting. It's kind of holding between that 32.47 range. With the squeeze ensuing here, this could be potentially a pop up to around 36.56 in the short term. Initial support is going to be coming in around that 31, and even stronger support coming around that $30 range there. That's a good looking stock though. Yeah, very good point. Every mattress company does have like excellent reviews. No worries, AJ. No worries. You came in late. That's fine. Yeah, so longer dated options, it's just up to the market of when those dates hit and when those options become available. Like again, you can't trade the monthly options for November of 2021 yet because they're not available yet. So they will slowly roll those out once of course, time decays away. Yelp. This is definitely one that has just been really beaten up, even though Google just really took its lunch. Looking for some initial support to the downside around 1891, but this doesn't look too pretty. It's trying to potentially, if it does have any movement or any kind of momentum, to break out to get above 2263, but this thing is just not trending well, and it has hit the 200 EMA multiple times and has failed. It's just kind of a slightly downward trending stock. I'm not saying there's a trade in there, but there's something that can be moving there. Yeah, I sweat like a pig too, but I have some cool covered sheets that keep my body nice and cool. C-Tab saying CRM, please. Yeah, we're gonna go CRM. Of course, this one has had the one that had like that 3 deviation move on earnings. And now it's kind of coming back down to, guess what? That 21 EMA, which we talk about. It's kind of between 21 and 34, kind of trading sideways here. If this has any kind of momentum, we are basically looking for around 264 to the upside. Downside support is going to be coming in around 237 to around 235 there. But great looking stock though. That's definitely one I would like to buy. What's up, Mr. Bear? Here, oh my god, right? Um, Thoughts on Redfin and Z? Feels like the tech enabler property sales should be a big opportunity. Yep, I agree, AJ. So those are some of the tickers that I've been sharing trade ideas within the Patreon and the YouTube membership tab on of what I'd be looking at for potential moves, and those have been some great potential stocks. With Zillow being a very large catalyst, Redfin just really tailing behind it here as well. We had that squeeze setting up here, it fired, looking for that initial to break above that 52 range. Really looking to kind of see it come up to 55, and the real target being around 58, 88 there. Kyle Cherokee Clarkey says, "What about H Helion?" Yeah, again, I don't follow the company completely on the fundamental side, but this is the SHLL one, right? Where it does the truck conversion kits that are currently in operation and working well. Definitely going to be something that is doing fantastic for them, but this stock has just kind of been in sideways action here and not really getting well above support around the 21 EMA, really looking for some support around the 200 EMA. So if it stays above 35 to around $34 here, that is still, the trend is still somewhat intact. That being said, we are having a squeeze. Potentially this could be kind of a base building at this level, but if we get some aggressive downward movement between that 5 and 8 moving averages, we can definitely see that break below that 35 and potentially test that 33 level and below there. Yes, I definitely agree. GTFO of Smith and Western is definitely ones that have been really could be potentially going up here. This is definitely building a base here. This is one that's actually on my radar. This is a very good analysis on your end. This is definitely something that is holding support. It's been beaten down. It's kind of building level here and looking for a potential rip higher. If it can start getting these moving averages to cross the 21 EMA, really looking to see a break above 17 to even $20. And then what's the other one? RGR. Yeah, same kind of pattern here. Looking for a potential break higher to get above that 21 EMA at $64, $65 there. Rich of all trades says, thoughts on OXBR? Not familiar with that. Sounds familiar though. Okay, it's a penny stock. I can't comment on that one. Sorry, my friend. That is just too cray-cray for me. Not my cup of tea. Sorry. Ryan says puts on Chris Wallace. He tried. He really did try. Mr. Bear says DXY. It's the dollar index futures. Oh. Why is it only showing 1 day? Normally you don't actually look at the dollar too often there, Bear. I know you do, and you trade your lovely soybeans. Guns and Campbell's soup. I gotta stack up, right? The zombie apocalypse ETF. Yeah, I thought about doing those funny ETFs, doing like a Karen ETF, apocalypse ETF, or just a bro ETF. But I don't know how people would understand that on YouTube sometimes. Sometimes I do the videos and then people are like, "You're an idiot. I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, that hurts. I'm a human. That hurts. You get a lot of negativity sometimes on YouTube. Try UUP. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. This looks interesting here, Bear. Kind of been beaten up on the weekly side. Looking on the daily side, still just trying to recover here. If this can stay above that movement here around that 21 EMA, so around $25, this is definitely something that could be moving higher. Again, with the dollar index, this is a bullish ETF. I've never actually traded this one before, but if that movement can continue, or because again, we're still below that 200 EMA, so it's definitely something that we can see being some overhead resistance. The overall movement is trying to recover here because you're seeing the moving averages trying to get out of that negative purgatory and try their very best to get to some higher prices there. Curious. I count this as Apple. Please, isn't any thoughts on the stock going up after iPhone announcement the 12th? If the 12th is, that's a speculation, right? That I'm sure they have a new phone. Like, why wouldn't they? They probably have the new iPhone 13, 15 already planned out. That being said, we're seeing some stronger support to the downside around 109 to 110. If that can stay above that, this could be a nice little push higher to at least that 120 to 124. I don't put too much emphasis on those announcements anymore. It could be a driver, but I think they're not as much of a movement as we've seen in the past. Like when Steve Jobs did those reviews or did the announcements, like literally it moved the Apple stock. But now I think people actually look at this more of a service company rather than just selling of the phones. Nothing but love over here. Yeah, that's why I appreciate my subscribers and the people in Discord. It's my little safe space. All right, things are moving kind of fast here. So, Ho says, can we do Costco monthly sales reports coming out Wednesday? It's up for the previous 3 reports. So Costco, I love my Costco. I love my Costco, honestly. That being said, this is looking like a very strong movement. We have seen some overhead resistance around that 358 to 360 before, but with the earnings coming out and continuing higher, that next overall target is higher. Oh, let me update this. Would be on this other swing here. Swing high to swing low, and it's not right. To kind of get a back above to 372, if we can break that 363 to the upside there, that'll be a wonderful move in Costco. Downside support is going to be initially coming in the short dated side around 350, and then another support around 347 in the short to intermediate term time frames. Could also be, let's see here, well over here in the percentage size of Texas, but the population. I love Costco. Yes, I love Costco. I like it so very much. It's one of my favorite things to go to. Alan says Walmart and McDonald's. Yeah, those go kind of hand in hand. So Walmart, I am very long term in as well. So Walmart, really looking for some price targets. Why are my fibs not loading here? Really looking for higher prices to come in with this one. Really looking for 150 to 160 here in longer term dated side, with this squeeze initially firing to see above 144 to 147 in the short term. Downside support's really going to be coming in around that 21 EMA, around 138 to 137 there. So yeah. And then McDonald's. Kind of having some overall a little bit of constipation, as we call it on the charts, at around $220. But if this can get any kind of going power and movement higher, really looking for on that 246 range to the upside. Downside support is going to be coming around 209 and then 200 there. for McDonald's to see that movement continue. We are in a squeeze. RSI and volume zone oscillator are looking prime to go, but again, things can change at any given time, so be ready for anything. Nicola, and not really too many comments on Nicola. Nicola's just been, I just don't understand it. The stock is not really making too much sense compared to what is being said about the company and the lack of evidence and all that fun stuff. Is definitely something. We looked at Nicola earlier. If it can stay if it can break above $30, the trend would have to reset. But if it's still trading below $30, that trend is still kind of continuously going lower there. Thank you, Trevor. Danny B, you're welcome. I don't know. You're all welcome. Limitus is space. Yeah. Space. This is one that's kind of been trying to take off, no lack of better words. We talked about that strong support basically on that $16, $17 range. We did trade below that due to the overall market sell-off, but we really recovered really strong here, and looking for that next potential price target around 21, and really trying to go for that 25.78 to kind of get to that $30 range. But this is definitely going to be a very tricky one to kind of see on how this one plays out, because it's, again, doesn't really make much money, and it's a pre-revenue company that's trying new things in a brand new industry there. DTFO says ZM. Yeah, like a Zoom. With ZM, we're seeing some potential support here around that 5 and 8 moving averages around 480. If this can continue, build a strong base, maybe get even a squeeze involved, we can easily see that 516 to 563 to the upside. Downside support is going to be coming in the short term, like we talked about, around that 470 range, down to 450, and even down to around 444 range there. Clayton says CRSR. Is that CRISPR? Oh no, I don't even know what this one is. What is this one? Capstar special purpose. Oh, this is SPAC. What does this do? What are they looking to buy? What does this one do? Oh, I'm just writing in my notes. Those SPACs have been going cray. I'm thinking about some puts on Nikola. Yeah, be very careful on that one. That's definitely gonna be one that honestly doesn't make too much sense, and just very difficult to see on how that one plays out. Let's see. Ryan says Etsy. Yes, Etsy is has been a great trade for us early this year, but kind of got us choppy out here. And now it's kind of had a squeeze. Now it's trying to hit that. It's hitting that resistance around 133 level. With the squeeze, it could be potentially kicking it higher to see that movement to the upside to around 141 range, even to that 150 range there. AJ says UNH. Yeah, UNH. That's United Healthcare. Definitely one as well that's kind of been going to be in the radar in all the. They are doing. Are they still doing? Excuse me. The vice president debates on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember what day that was. Are those been canceled as well? Or are they going to do that via Zoom on a AMD computer, or processor that has a computer that has an AMD processor in it, and an NVIDIA graphics card with Logitech microphone and headsets and keyboards, and then of course it has streaming Netflix on it, and it's running Windows 10 Pro. So that's basically going to be the play there. Pernice's pieces. AMD has Head and Shoulders on the daily side. Yeah, I can kind of see that. So the neckline's here and potentially going lower. I can definitely see that. But that being said, I don't. So the way I trade, I don't categorize like a head and shoulder, a wedge pattern, or anything like that. I think I normally just look at the fib numbers, the moving averages, and then of course my other little indicators that I have throughout my charts to kind of help me make those predictions. But I have nothing against those patterns. Uh, I just don't. Um, it's hard for me to interpretate those sometimes. Oh, it's Corsair. Oh, really? That's a cool thing to have. That's interesting. This definitely gonna be one. So Ryan says about 70 viewers. There should be 3 to 4 females lurking here. Yeah, Ryan. Elix says, "Hey Ken, how do you know if the support will break or up? What are you looking for technical wise? Thank you." So with this one, so look at like AMD. The moving averages are pretty nicely stacked. You got the 5, 8, 21, and 34. So the trend is trying to continue going higher. Um, that is definitely something that is going higher. We're seeing recovery in the sense of all the moving averages are kind of trying to go upwards to the right. We're seeing the RSI and the volume zone oscillator both in positive territory, and as well we're seeing that squeeze potentially coming through. So it could be potentially even squeezing it substantially higher there. You're welcome for the great insights. So again, if it breaks down for me, the support levels, that's again, if the moving averages start curling over and crossing through it and breaking those support levels, I have to reevaluate at that certain point in time. XRX long strong L shape recovery. Yeah, that's definitely an L shape there. That's definitely a loser there. That's kind of just blah. Nothing really to write home on. I don't even know what they do anymore. Like how many people are still buying printers and fax machines and stuff like that? I'm sure they are, without a doubt. Like, but you got DocuSign now. Guys, I'm gonna stream for a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna call it a night. I'm getting a little on the tired side here. Got a pretty big day at work tomorrow and all this fun stuff. Definitely, if you guys want to see what kind of videos would you like to see, I should do a survey here on what kind of videos would you like to see more of. Do you want to see more of the Wall Street bets breakdown stuff, or do you want to see more of the? I'm gonna do it definitely of the creating Ken's custom ETF, and I'm gonna be doing funny subjects like Karen or a gamer or something like that. Definitely something to make it a lot of fun to potentially see, or even what a Trump supporter or what a Biden supporter should have in his or her ETF. I think that would be kind of a funny thing to do, and of course be funny and entertaining and educational at the same time, because we'll cover 5 or 6 different stocks at that time. So if I should do that, that should be a lot of fun. ETFs, okay, good, thank you. ETFs, okay, cool, thank you. We want good setups. Yeah. Doing a day in the life of Ken, I don't think you want to see that. YOLO bets ETF would be super. Yeah, definitely. I love do the Wall Street bet stuff. Karen ETF, yes. Would be like a hair salon, maybe Starbucks or something like that, or makeup. I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into it. Technicals, I can do some technical videos. That kind of, I think I can more or less explain my charts. I think if that helps you, it helps folks. Karen for sure. CDAP says. Great, awesome. Yeah, trading in the zone, you can't really beat that one, to be quite honest. That is definitely a very good book, and the fact of the trading psychology, and just the understanding of what your mind could be going through and what you should be thinking about, and where those could be kind of changed. You're welcome. I did see that, yes. All right, guys, on that note, I greatly appreciate it. And if you have a fantastic night, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And if you're interested on going and supporting the channel, you don't have to. There's that YouTube join button down below, and of course the Patreon page. If you want to help support the channel, that'd be great and fantastic. We also have a fantastic Discord, which is down below as well, so you can check that out for joining, talking to all the fantastic folks within the chat there. A lot of fun always goes on there between memes, other various components of trading news or whatever is going on in the market. There's always someone on and always talking. That being said, guys, thank you so very much for joining. I really do appreciate the ongoing support, and I hope everyone has a fantastic night. We'll be potentially maybe doing a live stream in the next couple days, maybe after the market, maybe see how things are going in the market, and we'll just kind of go into that. Again, guys, thank you so very much. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.